And we are live. Welcome to this webinar. We will start shortly, but as we want to wait for people to get on, we are doing a weather report today as well, as we have done all this week. So before we really start, let's hear what the weather is like. And we start with Anka. Are you in Madrid by any chance?
Yes, exactly. We're in Madrid, in the European Union Satellite Center, which is actually it's in Torrejón, so it's next to Madrid. So the weather here is Madrid weather, always sunny, always warm.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It is nice for me to hear because I will be next week in Madrid.
Very good.
But tell us what the weather is like where you are now, Carol.
Now I am near of Prague, and weather is not bad, not good, some middle, something like 16 degrees and cloudy.
And Wolfgang, how is Germany? You are in Berlin, right?
Yes, I'm today in Berlin, and we have 19 degrees, and the sun is sometimes shining. Yesterday we had a little bit colder, and before that we had this heat period also. But I was away, I was in Scotland, and there was only 16 to 18 degrees and normal British weather.
Probably refreshing after the hot summer. So here where I'm right now, I'm in Oslo now, and the weather is beautiful summer weather. We are fooled to be thinking it's still summer, but the fall is coming soon for sure. Okay. With that, we do the official start. So welcome to this webinar about security APIs and CKAN. And we have a very interesting set of experts here today. So we start by introducing our experts, and I give the floor first to you, Anka.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Anka. I'm with the European Union Satellite Center. This is an agency of the European Council. So we're dealing with security matters, security of citizens and countries. I'm a project officer working in the Research, Technology Development and Innovation Unit of the EU SATCEN.
Nice to have you. Exciting to hear about security. And Carol.
Okay, I'm not sure if I am expert, but okay, I am one from organizer of this hackathon. I am also one from the founder of Plan for All Association, and with my expertise from something like almost 20 years in European project, I am trying to help with sustainability of the result of European project and with better cooperation and communication among different projects.
Exciting, and we will learn more about the concept of the Inspire Hackathon shortly. And Wolfgang, how about you?
Yes, I'm a project manager here at Widerum for the project Next Geos, and we are a company who has a lot of projects in the open data area with CKAN, and Next Geos is one of the largest with the greatest challenges at all. The most data sets, we are only harvesting data sets, but we are in the area of 200,000 or so, and harvesting 20,000 a day. And this is a great challenge technically, and there are a lot of data inside which might be interesting for our recipients. Yeah.
Absolutely. We are excited to hear more about CKAN and what you do. So my name is Bente Lilja. I'm one of the co-organizers of the Inspire Hackathon. I'm also a partner of the Next Geos project and Plan for All. And my background, I have been working for a couple of decades now with Earth observations and data management in particular. I am so excited to work with interoperability. So APIs is really a hot topic that I'm interested in also. But today I'm just your host, and before we start and give the floor to the speakers, I will do some housekeeping. So we have a chat box here. So if you have questions to the speakers, please write it in the chat box, and I will keep an eye on it and see if I can post a question when it's fitting in between, normally in between the presentations, but also a Q&A towards the end if time allows. So do not hesitate to write your question, and start by saying where you're from. That will be interesting for us to know. So with that, I say go to you, Anka. How about security? And while Anka is preparing her presentation, you will see that we will disappear. The faces will disappear, but we will reappear, I can assure you. So I will, there she comes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Anka.
Great.
And yes, you make the screen larger, and then you perhaps can remove the little icon at the end. Yes, thank you so much.
Good. Perfect. Okay, so today I will be speaking a bit about why we're interested in the security domain to exploit open data, and how we can benefit from the extensive use of APIs. Open APIs. I will begin by introducing a bit the domain of space and security, because it's something that not everybody knows, is not very familiar with. Then maybe the objectives and challenges of the space and security domain, what types of open data we're considering in this field, and what APIs are there available for secure societies. And finally, I will introduce the Secure Societies Challenge that we're launching in the Inspire Hackathon. So just to give a brief overview of the problematic that we're dealing with in the space and security domain, I will go through this diagram by starting with the users or the decision makers, because always the core of the problem lies in the use case. So we have a variety of users of geospatial information that need to make informed decisions on the domains that they're active in. So, for instance, we're talking about member states, EU missions and operations, local authorities, agencies such as border control, for instance, or international organizations which are dealing with a variety of thematics, from disasters caused by natural causes to humanitarian relief, for instance. So it all starts with the need to know, so the need to get informed and to make an informed decision. And for this, the community of users, the community of security users, are issuing normally requests for information that are received by the geospatial intelligence providers. One of them is the European Union Satellite Center. So here we are trying to use geospatial data and collateral data to provide our users with relevant information for their applications. So we're very much interested in exploring several types of data and several types of data sources, and also into automatizing the process of extracting information from this data. So after looking at the data and getting an idea on how on what is going on, let's say on the areas that we're looking at, we're producing a product that we're back delivering to the user community. But for this, as I was saying, we rely a lot on the availability of data, of course, on the availability of technology, on the availability of tools and services to extract and process information coming from this geospatial data. And the data comes from, as I was saying, a variety of sources, either from satellite sensors or from airborne sensors, in situ data, and other geolocated types of data. Let's say even from open sources such as multimedia or social media. there is a gap, and there is a gap between data, technology, and services to actual putting this data to use, so getting the relevant information from the data. And this gap, we believe, can be resolved so that we can build a bridge by using open APIs. Now, the main objective in the space and security domain is to provide, as I was saying, timely and relevant geospatial products and services by exploiting resources that come from Earth observation sources and collateral data. And the secure society's problem is a transversal topic, and it spans across several essential dimensions. These are political, economic, food availability, personal dimension, health or epidemics, let's say, environment, and community. And these are not by chance put here, but they are all reflected in the Sustainable Development Goals coming from the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So addressing issues related to security, and to security of citizens, to security of countries, is actually responding or helping to achieve this agenda for sustainable development. Now, there are a few challenges that we're facing when trying to analyze various sources of geospatial data or geospatial information. But the most important thing is to keep in mind that the end goal is to be able to respond very fast and with the correct and timely information available, but also to allow to enhance resilience, to enhance prevention, so that decision-making is in the end a process based on the exploration of multiple data sources. So we're getting to the topic of big data that is, as we all know, facing a number of challenges coming from the volume of data. We're talking about very big geospatial information, velocity of data, veracity, value, variety, and so on. And since we're talking about Earth observation, visualization and proper visualization tools are essential. Now, the main questions that we're trying to answer are, what are the data sources that we could explore? Should we rely only on governmental sources? Should we use open data? What types of open data? Where are they located? How can we access this data, and how can we integrate this data into our daily operations? How can we collect this data? How can we store it? How can we index it so that it can be properly retrieved? And mostly, basically, maybe the most important thing would be, how can we interpret this data? So what kind of tools can we use to get the accurate information, relevant information? So, as I was saying, we're considering open data for addressing secure society's challenges. Traditionally, in space and security domain, the most utilized data is very high resolution imagery. And this comes either from commercial or governmental systems. And normally we have, if we're looking at these two pictures, it's clear that we have very high resolution covering maybe smaller areas because of that, because of the resolution. So this data comes at a cost, is not always available, and the frequency of acquisition is sometimes not enough. It's suitable for small areas, very specific tasking, and local analysis. How can we benefit from free and open data coming either from Copernicus or other European databases and portals or citizen science? Of course, with the drawback of a lower resolution. Well, first of all, this data is free, is open, is out there, so it's accessible, it's available. We can look over larger areas if the application demands that, and it comes with a higher frequency of acquisition. So we can use it for long-term analysis and predictions, as well as global analysis, and these can be valuable indicators when trying to paint a complete picture relevant for security. So we already identified potentially useful data sources and open data sources and open APIs for security applications. I will start by mentioning the projects Everest and NextGeos, which are highly relevant for this area. Everest is a European project which developed and released a virtual research environment for research lifecycle management for the Earth science community. And the European Union Satellite Center is one of the partners in this project, dealing with the land monitoring community. And we built a pilot in this project where we're looking at implementing change detection for security applications. This is similar to NextGeos. Actually, the Everest was the basis for our participation in the NextGeos project, and NextGeos is bringing something more. Is bringing not just access to data and cloud computing capabilities, but also the possibility to provide the data. So to consider our results as data themselves, so to feed them back to the data hub and to enable our community to access better data and results and processing as well. Other relevant data sources are, for instance, the GEOS and the GeoDAB. So the GeoDAB is a key component of the GEOS GCI, so the common infrastructure, and is connecting the GEOS user requests to the resources that are shared by the GEOS providers. ACLED is an armed conflict location and event data, and it provides information on conflicts, crisis mapping, information on the data sets, on the types of violence, locations, and so on. GDELT. GDELT is a project which has a nice motto. It's watching the entire world. So it's a project that mostly monitors the world's news media from, they claim, nearly every corner of every country in over 100 languages. So it's a very interesting source of information for us. There are, of course, several initiatives on migration. Migration is one of the topics that we're dealing with every day here. And there are several worth mentioning because they already reached a certain level of maturity and they are used by the International Organization of Migration. For instance, migration flows, the Missing Migrants project, or the Relief Web. Relief Web is providing information on global crises and disasters, and this is somehow linked, for instance, with migration issues. Another source would be the UCDP, or the Uppsala Conflict Data Program. Is the world's main provider of data on organized violence. And it provides several interesting data sets, such as the non-state conflict or one-sided violence, or the prior armed conflict data set. And there is, of course, not to mention it last, but there is the Copernicus Open Access Hub, which provides access to all the Copernicus data. This is one of the most important sources of data that we are using here in the Satellite Center, in the sense of open data, let's say. So this was just a brief overview of what we're thinking of. Of course, the number of sources is much higher, and the number of products and information that is available out there, and the tools used to process this information is much higher. And we would like to see what else can we explore. Of course, we're looking into many directions. And for this, we decided to participate in the Inspire Hackathon, and we're also launching a special prize on security. So we're looking for the best approach on a security relevant topic. And just to understand better what security refers to, it means security of citizens and countries. We're not talking about cybersecurity or ICT. This topic was addressed, or we addressed it in the NextGeos and Everest project, as I was saying. Our application was on change detection, but we can think of many other applications, of course. Anything that is relevant for the secure societies area, which fosters the use of open APIs and enables access to Earth observation and other relevant geospatial data, such as, for instance, statistical or census. So that's it from my side. I'm looking forward to seeing the results.
Thank you so much, Anka. That was really very interesting and inspiring. It's an important topic, and I certainly hope that you find a perspective that has security in it, and make sure that you communicate that when you define your project. Because as we saw, Anka, there's so many different perspectives of security. So if you think about it, you might actually be helpful for security, not only your scientific or other service product that you are developing, just to mention an example. So any questions? I cannot see that we have any, but you can ask questions in the chat box. Don't be afraid to do that. We will answer the best we can. Let me see. Yeah, I think that you actually answered the question, Anka, that there's a whole lot of different perspectives to security. So and change. But by the way, change detection. What exactly do you? Is it the geophysical change that you are looking for, or other types of change as well? Maybe we lost Anka. No.
No, I'm sorry. I missed for a couple of seconds, so I didn't really catch the question.
Yeah, no, so what type of change do you have? Well, I will rephrase, I will ask a different questions, actually. The change that you're talking about, is that, could that be long time span or shorter time span? Is there any particular type of change you find more interesting?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, there are several types of changes that we can distinguish when we're looking at land cover and land use. For instance, if we look for long time series, then we can see periodic variations coming from vegetation or human activity. What we're interested more is in the human activity part, but of course sometimes the variations on natural parameters, on even vegetation, let's say, could be interesting, or water. Because, for instance, let's imagine a coastal area or some local settlement, a human settlement that's located next to a lake, or some water body which is in danger of flooding that area, and we can experience afterwards some sort of security relevant behavior of the population because of that. Yeah. So imagine that the people don't have access to food resources after that. Yeah. So this could be potentially a security issue.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that answer. So there are in fact many not so obvious connections.
Yes.
I'm thinking of yeah.
It's of course this is if we're looking for long time series, we can look for just changes between two dates, and this means something happened precisely between these two dates. This is also a very common application.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. You see, there are many ways of doing it. And now, Carol, Anka said that she, was interested in using the Inspire Hackathon framework. Now, can we hear more about the concept of the Inspire Hackathon?
Okay, good.
We are waiting for, here it comes with the presentation.
Okay, do you see my presentation?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so what is Inspire Hackathon? Why we are doing Inspire Hackathon? How you can participate on Inspire Hackathon? These are three questions which I will try to answer in next approximately 10 minutes. So you can see that for this year Inspire Hackathon, there is a number of organizations supporting this hackathon, and also a number of different projects which are supporting and participating on this hackathon. The main organizer is Plan for All Association, and some main objective of Plan for All Association is to guarantee sustainability of the result of different projects and supporting cooperation among the people, among projects together, mainly in the focus on open data. A little from the history, the first Inspire Hackathon was organized 2 years ago in Barcelona. It was organized in the place, so the people came to the Barcelona and tried to code there in 2 or 3 days together and prepare some application. We recognize on one side that Inspire conference is a good platform for such type of the hackathon, but on other side that the number of people who are able directly to participate on Inspire hackathon is limited, and we change the model after, and I will now tell you more about this. So why we are organizing Inspire Hackathon? It is a little different. Normally, the hackathons are focused on students, startups, and so on, and to give some chance to startups to work in some field or some area. The Inspire Hackathon is more focused on could be expert or projects, and the main objectives is to help to these people work together, because usually you are working inside of one project, some number of the partners, but the exchange of data information with other projects is limited. In many cases, after end of the project, big part of the development disappear, and it is not sustainable for a long time, and very often projects are collecting some data, but most of this data disappear again after the project. So we are trying to change the situation and to guarantee sustainability of the result of the project and help to new projects not starting again collecting the same data, but to use something what was already done. I think that this is our main message. Inspire Hackathon is not event. Inspire Hackathon is a process. We are organizing Inspire Hackathon on Inspire conferences, but meantime, we are organizing a number of satellite events, and we are trying to guarantee that not all people, of course, but the big part of the people will be able to work together after the hackathon, and our dream is that we will be able to could be help or incubate some ideas into some commercial business or into some solution which will be good for citizens. So we are trying, as I mentioned, to ensure continuity of integration of open data. The plan for all start with 3 data sets, which was open land use, open transport map, and smart point of interest. And we are now trying to integrate this data with the data from other project, and to open possibility for using data which are available. We are using Inspire Conference as platform, but we are not limited on the things which are done by Inspire Conference. We are trying to go beyond the Inspire, and if you would like to work with us, you don't afraid that it will be only focused on implementation of Inspire. It is not true, and we are and area, like for example with agriculture, and probably you know that agriculture is not so much connected with Inspire. There are other activities related to agriculture, and agriculture is only partly mentioned in Inspire, but on the other side, agriculture is a big influence of environment, so we see this as important. And we are also not limited on Europe. Our goal is to connect people also from different part of the world, and here you can see the result of one hackathon, and it is open land use for Africa, which some colleagues start to develop, and you can see that, of course, till now it's not all Africa covered, and we would like to use this movement and use this hackathon to cover step by step full Africa with this data, and then eventually to look for other opportunity and to continue to other continents. How to participate? I think that if you would like to join Inspire Hackathon, it is good at first to look on the projects which already start to work, because the easiest way is to contact people from the project which already started and to join some team. We have already now 15 teams on Inspire Hackathon. You can find also the list of APIs coming from partners who offer the API for Inspire Hackathon, and it is good to study what you can use, which API are available. If you are API producer, you can register also your own API and make this API available for other developers and help them to use your API or your data. If you would like to participate on Inspire Hackathon, you have to at first register yourself on with a very small form and put there your contact, and after this you will receive access to the working space on Google Drive, and you have again chance to go to different projects. You can also edit then this project, or you can add your own project as new, and if you will publish information about your ideas, your project, we will then publish this project on Plan for All portal, and from the Plan for All portal we will share this information also to the social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, so your ideas will be promoted around the world, and you will have chance to find new contact, new friends, new collaborators. I think that this is from my side all about Plan for All and about hackathon, and I would like to invite you to join our hackathon, or eventually if you would like to cooperate more, join also Plan for All, because Plan for All is open. We are not collecting any fee. We are looking for organization who will be able to help or assist to our goals, and also we are looking organization who will be ready with us to cooperate in next year on the preparation some satellite hacks. So if you have some event, if you would like to try to do something, you can contact us, and we can agree and try to organize some hackathon also together with you. So thank you. Thank you for your attention, and if you will have some question, you can contact me, and we can then discuss how we can cooperate.
Thank you so much, Karol. It's a very interesting concept. I think I enjoy being a part of it, of course. And just underlying again what Karol said is it's really open to everyone. It's not really restricted to a geographical area, or not even Inspire. It's open for everyone, using all sorts of data, using APIs in this case. So with that, Karol, you mentioned the satellite Inspire hackathons. We have had a few of them. How should people go about to initiate that? Should they contact Plan for All for you, or yeah, how should they?
Probably contact me, Thomas, or you, and we can start discuss the possibility of how and when we can organize this satellite hackathon, because we are, I think, very open, and we are trying to do this with really some enthusiasm, without some direct money coming from this. Yes, it is not for money. I think it is for cooperation, but we are happy if the people are happy.
Yes. So there are no big prizes here. It's more the honor, and of course some extra airtime. I mean, just registering your teamwork and your team in this hackathon will give you more attention. You will spread your information. It's a way of disseminating what you're doing. It's a way of communicating and engaging with the community. So many of the projects, the Horizon 2020 projects for sure, we are obliged to do this, and it's in our very own interest, of course, to do it. So just to mention that as well. So we are really welcome.
Now more and more projects is putting already into the description that they will cooperate on future Inspire hackathons. So I hope that we will be able to guarantee long-time sustainability.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, so, and one of the technologies behind sharing the data is CKAN technology. So Wolfgang, can you introduce us to CKAN?
Yes, I hope so. So I have prepared, yes. Okay, I have prepared a short presentation. It's a little bit more technical than the other ones, but we will survive it. I will give you an overview over next year's.
Wolfgang,
Pardon?
Can you show it in the full screen version for us?
As you like it.
The presentation. Yes,
yes.
The Anzeige. The Anzeige.
Better?
If you choose the Anzeige button and choose full screen there, right? And then you can turn off your camera as well and come back to us afterwards. Okay?
Okay.
Sorry for that. Go ahead and share with us.
Okay. So here we are. Can you hear me?
Yes, Wolfgang. Go ahead. Okay. Thank you.
What I will do is to give short an overview over next year's, and then I explain where we use open search, and then at last we have a very short look how to use it, open search. Next year's was mentioned in the last two presentations too. What we are doing here is that we have here on the left side a lot of sources, mainly satellite images, photos, radar, and so on, and they come from Copernicus and the Sentinel missions, but we have also citizen data, what we call in situ, that means on the Earth, and we want to harvest the metadata of these sources to bring it into the CKAN catalog, and therefore we have built several harvesters which collect metadata from specific sources, and we put it here in the database of CKAN, and if they are available, we use different metadata standards. There is DCAT and GeoDCAT from the European Union. There are some ISO standards which came up with the Inspire program, and what we do also is that we add some tags to the data. So if we have a coordinate and we can see from the coordinate that this is the city of Vienna, then we can put as metadata tag Vienna and Austria also to the database so that you can search for it. You can imagine the whole CKAN catalog like a catalog in a library. We have not the data themselves, we have only the metadata as it is in a normal catalog, and we you can access these data by a graphical user interface, normal www browser, and then you can search from in free text. You can search with a map, you can search by filters, and then you can download your specific data here from the sources directly. But what we provide also is an open search interface, besides other interfaces, which is needed by applications here in the pilots area. We have about 10 pilots and more in next years for different topics, let's say agriculture, biodiversity, or what we hear, space and security, cold regions, where Bente is going always. Then we have some air pollution freaks from DLR, and so on. And these pilots have programs which they put in the cloud and use the data we have. And maybe, as example, for agriculture, the agriculture application asks via OpenSearch the catalog and says, oh, give me please data which you have from northern Belgium, from the Sentinel-2 mission in the month of March and to August. And then they get a list of results from us. And with these results, they get the raw data from the data sources and take it into their application. And for agriculture, they run on it a time series calculation. And as a result, they can say to the farmer, you should put more water on it and more nutrition or less nutrition to get a better result for your crop. And biodiversity is similar, and they look from laser views on woods and try to discover several trees. And then if they have this information calculated by machine learning algorithms, then they can say how the biodiversity in this wood is developing. Is it going better? Is it going not better? And do we have to do some activity? And these results from these pilots, we had a look with market studies and other business cases oriented looks, so that we can decide what is the most important topic at first to support the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. And so we address here in the end different end user communities like the civil society, the government, and the business, and maybe it's usable worldwide. But we now are focusing on Europe. So we have some infrastructure for this, but this is not very important. What I will now show is you how OpenSearch works, and it's more textual. It came originally from Amazon and is now in an OpenSearch organization where you can find specifics. And there is an extension from the OGC for geo and time. So that you can say, oh, my data set is from April and it's in North Belgium. And you can see the standard here at this URL. And then if you have understand the concept, you or your programmer, then you can access the CKAN catalog without an account needed, and you can access it with HTTPS. And the first thing you would do is to download the description document where the dataset is described, and you can see what you can ask for, whether it has collections or whether it has what kind of data there are. And the collections is important because the data sets we have are which a very lot. And maybe in the first step of searching, you say, oh, give me that collection from different area with some dates, and then you make a second step and say, oh, give me this particular data set. If you have, I would show you here, just for the aesthetics, how to do a query and how to see the result. If you have a query, it's the OpenSearch is XML based, and here you see on the right side what different types of data you can search for, the search terms, maximum of results, start page, a geo-bounding box, and universal user ID for data set. You can ask for time, start time, end time, and so on. And this has to be included in some notations here on the left side in XML, and you can automate it, and it is standardized, and so you can easily, if you have a good programmer, ask the OpenSearch interface. When you get an answer, it is also XML, and you see here it's called Atom Results Feed, and you see here in the top what different standards are used, and then you go down and you will get an answer. And this is also everything is automizable, and we have made a very intensive system integration with Vito in Belgium, where we had the whole pipeline from the satellite sources to the application through the CKAN catalog set. You can do it with an automated application. So that was in short what I wanted to say. And I'm open now for questions.
Thank you so much, Wolfgang. That was very interesting and useful for those who are participating in this hackathon. I have a question. So is it so that anyone in around the world can use the OpenSearch and get access to this NextGeos data hub now?
Yes, in the beta release we had some restrictions for the interactive access, but the OpenSearch interface is open again. So we are open data and have to be open. And after our meeting next week in Lisbon, we will make it even more open, hopefully. And so the very interesting thing of our catalog is that we have a lot of sources which we aggregate with metadata in our catalog. So it is for the user interesting because he does not have to hop from source to source and look by himself, and he can let's do it the catalog, and even in an automated way with OpenSearch. And maybe in next month or years we will exploit more the options of DCAT, where you have an entry point into the semantic web and linked open data, which are for operational users even more interesting, but it is a lot of intellectual work more. Yeah.
Yeah, but for you, for the NextGeos data hub, it will be very useful if participants tested the system, so that you get feedback on the functionality as well, right? So
yes,
am I right?
Yes. We have now a lot of data inside from a list of sources, but we are working demand driven, and if we have users which need other additional data too, then we will include it into the CKAN, so that the matureness of the catalog will get more and more useful over the next years. So it's
yes. Like so right now. So right now. Yeah.
So it's like a normal library. If you have a library in the city, you will not have such a big catalog than the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Yes. So, but so right now, what the users can do is to actually access what you already cataloged in the data hub. But the future need, we will continuously, next years we'll continuously develop it. But right now, there's already a number of data cataloged that can be,
we have 400,000 metadata sets now. The speed which is filling up is very high, and we are one of the greatest catalogs on CKAN based already now. And even the European data portal from normal open data, where they harvest metadata of text files, is not that large as we have now from the satellites, and it's enormous, it's tremendous, and it's very interesting. And you've seen with the pilots that it can be used for a large number of purposes. And so
absolutely
it's interesting for a hackathon to get used to open search and how to work with it. It's not that complicated as other APIs. But, as always, you have to get trained to it and make profit from it.
Well, the training is what we're doing now by you giving us some information on how to use it. And so thank you for that, Wolfgang. I don't see any questions other than mine. So, but we can do tour de table. Also, do you have anything, any other comments and questions for each other? Please go ahead.
Yes, where can we have the slides afterwards?
The slides, yeah, no. So the Plan for All is sort of the lead organizers of this hackathons. So we have the Inspire Hackathon pages on the planforall.eu web pages. So if you go there, you will find all the information. And we have already posted the replay actually for the former webinars, and the presentations will also be made available on the planforall.eu pages. And we will, you know, this is very hectic right now. This is the webinars during the hackathon, and people have like 2.5 weeks. So there's lots of things to be done still during this until the end of the deadline of the Inspire Hackathon. But afterwards, we will reorganize and we will reuse the information from these webinars. So thank you for asking, Wolfgang. Everything will be made available, and in a more organized way also eventually. Any other comments from you, Anka, Carol?
Yeah, actually, I would like to make a comment because you just said reuse, and I think that this is one of the main advantages of brought by open data and open APIs, the reuse. So it's not a one-time deal. It's not a one-time use of the resources or access. It's permanent, it's constant, and it's there. So this is also one of the main advantages that we see for NextGeos from our perspective, because it gives us the possibility not just to use the data to produce something, but actually to make like a cycle, you know, like an evolution of the product, so coming from the data to the result, the information that goes back into and feeds back the data hub. So this is definitely very, very interesting for us.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I totally agree. And Carol, any last words?
I ask every time. I hope that we will have chance to meet in Antwerp or on other place, and we will be very happy to cooperate with you and to share with you the data knowledge systems to make our life easy and better.
Yes, sounds very nice, and I think it's true. So I want also to remind you that not only do you have the possibility to participate remotely, so a virtual Inspire Hack going on right now, Of course, you will have the possibility to meet us face-to-face in the finale where we present the results of the hackathon. But if you cannot go to Antwerp, which Carol said we would most definitely like to meet you there, but if you cannot, you can present your results remotely to the crowd or the people there in Antwerp. So don't be shy because you cannot actually travel to Antwerp. You can still be a part of this Inspire Hackathon movement. And one more thing, if you are going to the EuroGeos workshop that will take place in Geneva on the 12th to the 14th of September, I would like to remind you that NextGeos has an excellent offer to get training on how to use Data Hub, the CKAN Data Hub, like Wolfgang will be there, and we have plenty of others as well that will guide you, introduce you to how you can use the NextGeos platform. And this can be a part of your work in the Inspire Hackathon. So there's a good combination. You can speed up your work if you are working on any type of problem, but if you are a NextGeos pilot or there are many projects, Horizon 2020 projects they have pilots, and you can also speed up your pilot work by attending this free training, one-day training in Geneva on the 11th of September. So you will find possibilities to sign up for that on the NextGeos webpage. And
invitation, yes, I would like also say something, because in November there is Data Week in Gaborone. I will be there presenting the idea of Inspire Hackathon. So I would like to meet you there and discuss with you the chance to organize could be some next hackathon also in Africa.
Absolutely. Like we said, this is not restricted to Europe or Inspire. We go global. So with that, I think we are done for today. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much, speakers. Excellent presentations, very useful. And like I said, we will make use of them and make them available for the audience on the planforall.eu webpage. So thank you and bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.